So we just had
Oh.
all this press. People just, they either didn't understand it, or there were some questions about it. I think people weren't sure what it was, but it was a really great show, founded really on real core principles of helping the youngest viewers really grow from television. So
Yeah, and you're right. It became a topic of pop culture. There was a Tinky Winky controversy where people thought this one character was gay because he carried a bag that looked like a person. Even Jerry Falwell said he was a gay role model. What do you remember that? What were your thoughts on that?
I remember it really well. We in our offices one day, we suddenly had this press conference, and these very aggressive people came in and started, really putting us through the ringer about that. We at the time in the 90s, that was a real controversy. But I can tell you from the creative standpoint, one, the creator is certainly very friendly, gay friendly, or friendly to all people. But she actually, when she created that show, she intentionally had the boy character carrying the pocketbook because she wanted to break down stereotypes. That
So it was intentional.
It was intentional to have a pocketbook, but it wasn't intentional to add a sexuality to it at all. Right. It was just that boys can play with things, and girls can play. There was a boy that had a skirt. Sometimes he had a little skirt that he would put on, and they would do different things. Girl would play with the ball. It was trying to break down stereotypes really for young kids. So that's why I think she did it. But you're right, it was a huge controversy, which just added fuel to the fire, and we were all over the press and everything. We even had a controversy. I don't know if you remember being in New York, that one of the toys, the New York Post came out with a story that said, "Got a gun." And one of our toys, if you press the button and you listened a certain way, it sounded like to some people that it says, "I got a gun." And it didn't say that, but it was, so it was just wild. The controversy that we had. Yeah.
Right. So how do you think kids programming has changed from the beginning when you started to now?
Well, there's some great producers out there all over the world. One thing that I really appreciated is you can find great producers in New Zealand and France and Canada, all over, in addition to the U.S. So that has kind of continued to expand. I worked on a show with a creator from Iceland, this one, Lazy Town. But I'll tell you what, in a way that I would kind of make it, I don't want to alarm anybody, but right now there's so many people creating television that it's not all qualified television. YouTube is content generated. Anybody can users can put things up on YouTube. So I think there is a risk out there that anybody can create kids TV, and not all kids TV is the same.
Right.
There are some really great shows out there, and people that work really hard, and writers and educators that get behind shows. But sometimes shows can be out there to just try to make money and try to make clicks, and that's where I think parents today have to be more careful, than they have had before.
Well, agreed. And we're going to get to Kidstream right now, but it seems like you guys have really cherry picked what you thought were some shows that had some core values and obviously passed the test. But I just wanted to mention, my daughter's 11. When she was born, I had never seen this channel before I had a kid, obviously, but there was something called Baby First. Are you familiar with Baby First?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a constant, repetition of the same type of shows. That the reason why I'm bringing it up, it catered to the child. I mean, obviously, I looked at it and I was like, what is this? This looks low budget, like junk. But she was, as a baby, she was focused on this. And it's funny because when she turned 1.5, 2, 3, out of nowhere, she started singing the song. So it really resonated with her as a baby, and she learned these things. And the shows, I guess, were about sharing and friendships. And, I don't really remember because it was hard for me to watch as an adult, but that kind of stuff obviously really made an imprint on a baby's brain. And I just felt, I thought that was very, very interesting. I still see Baby First on TV. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know the channel very well, but I do know that they're focusing on programming for really young children should be different than programming that's and being a little slow paced is a really good thing. So I think they do carry that. We're bringing a new show out of Holland next month called Tic Tac, not to be confused with TikTok. Tic Tac. It's a classic, very visual show like that with images and very slow and gentle show for really the youngest viewers as well. So I
Yeah.
do appreciate that, and there are values in these shows. You're right. They learn sharing. They learn things at a really young age.
Right. And the concept of being kind. And I definitely, that resonated with me, even just watching it in passing. So